Hello, friends, fans, and dairy products of all ages. This is Cheese of Ages with yet another direct from webcam upload. I'm trying different things with the lighting to see if I can get a nice happy medium in there, because the lighting situation I had before was a desk lamp with a lampshade on it, like right over here. So I've taken the lampshade off because that was too bright, and then I moved it behind my monitor to see if okay, just ambient light coming from behind the webcam. Let's see if that works well. And it seems to have a decent color balance. There's still a bit of shadow on this side, but there's actually more light in the room. I think you can actually see a little bit of the room behind me if you squint a little. I mean, you can see a stairs railing there. But anyway, on to the main subject of this video. And a comment to my last video asked if I had ever given Heroes of the Storm a try. And the answer I gave in the comment section, yeah, I have, actually. I played during the later stages of the closed beta, pretty much 2 weeks before it went into open beta. I got into the closed beta, and I played that shortly before Sylvanas came out, actually. Maybe a week before Sylvanas came out, I was playing, and then I was upset because they reset my progress again. So I had to re-earn everything I had earned in that game. But anyway, yeah. Let's start off with the positive things that I enjoy about the game. One, you start off with all your abilities aside from your ultimate equivalent, the heroic ability, which is the ultimates in other MOBAs. I mean, every other game calls them ultimates. Anyway, I do like that. You start off with all of your abilities. You're here's your full kit. You're designed to have your full kit. Here's your full kit. Use it. I also like that how it feels when you're gaining new abilities and perks. So instead of buying items, you gain oh, this talent modifies how you play or your stats or your abilities in some way. And even when you unlock your ultimate, every character has 2 that you can pick from. Usually only one of them is good. But some characters have 2 viable ultimates that can be built to. While some characters have an ultimate that's completely useless and a useful ultimate. But yeah, I do like that there's 2 ultimates, and that you can tweak your abilities as you level up, rather than putting ranks into them. They rank up automatically. I do like that. I wish more MOBAs would do it where, instead of just putting ranks, all of your shit scales, and then you just tweak it with your level ups. That would be very interesting. That's a good addition to the MOBA formula. And you don't have to buy items, which I really don't care one way or the other about that. I do like buying items and having different builds based on item builds that further customize my character. So if I could have items and perks, and talents, I mean, items and talents, it'd just be super great. It'd just be so super customized. Don Gate, why did you have to go away? You had both of that. You had that. Anyway, Infinite Crisis, you died too. Anyway, yeah. I also do like the heavier objective focus in Heroes of the Storm, and I do like the communal experience points, where as long as you've got somebody in the lane, farming the lane, everyone's getting experience from that lane. And that means oh, there's no oh, the support last hit, I'm the carry, you're supposed to let me have them. The team is freaking carrying everybody simultaneously by going into the lanes and farming properly. And if you don't leave a lane, if you don't farm the lane and your enemy's farming that lane, they can get a level advantage. Also, there's an objective element to it, because you can take minion camps in the jungle that will add like more powerful minions to certain lanes depending on the camp. And there's like boss monsters that you can take, and there's usually one objective per map that is almost essentially exactly the same on all maps, with very little variance. Collect this, take it here, get something that destroys the enemy towers. In two cases, it transforms one of your allies into a boss monster. One case, it summons a boss monster. Well, two cases, it summons a boss monster. And in one case, two cases, it barrages the enemy fortresses with siege weaponry. But they all essentially operate on nearly the same within those categories. Anyway. And the lanes are like slightly different per map, but they're essentially 3 lanes, all of them. Very little deviation between the two. The only one with any drastic layout difference is the Haunted Mines, where there's an underground portion, which I have always thought would be something good to implement in a MOBA, an underground portion of the map where you could possibly like shortcut to various areas of the map, have like a second jungle under there. Maybe have a D&D themed MOBA where there's dungeons you can delve down there. They're like simplified because it's a MOBA, not like an RPG. I mean, heck, there's already like I think it's called Dragon Shard, an RTS game that uses that mechanic heavily, that you could just build a MOBA in if you found the level editor for it. I wish somebody would do that. That would be like super fracking awesome. A D&D themed MOBA where you could dungeon delve a little bit. But yeah, anyway, I do like several aspects of it. In fact, I like most of it. However, there is one key element that keeps me from really like strongly recommending the game, and what keeps me from really being a dedicated player of it. And that's that for some reason, and only in Heroes of the Storms' case, Blizzard has no concept of proper balance. I mean, sure, it's totally fine that Sylvanas, like, when properly played, can make it where the lane structures practically don't exist, because her passive enables her to just alternate between the 2 towers, and instead of, like, it's like her passive, when she shoots something with, like, certain abilities, or with her basic attacks, it stuns minions, camps, and structures. So she can make a tower not fire, and she can alternate attacks between the towers and make it where both towers don't attack, especially if she gets a perk that extends her stun duration. So effectively, when she's split pushing, you practically the only use your towers pretty much have is slowing her down slightly. They're not going to kill. She's going to get through there eventually, and your towers aren't going to do anything. If she's in a team fighting environment, you're fighting under tower. No, you're not. You don't have the advantage of the towers attacking the enemies. And that's totally fine because she's squishy, and you should be able to lock her down. You should be able to kill her easily. It's like the fact that any time Sylvanas is pushing and her team is pushing with a boss creep like the Garden Terror or the Dragon Knight or the Golems, or anytime she's pushing with a boss monster, you've pretty much lost every structure on that lane regardless, because everybody on that team is going to be keeping you off of Sylvanas and the Golem, and the Golem's going to be all up in your shit. So if you focus Sylvanas, you're not focusing the Golem, and the Golem's going to last 3 times as long because the towers aren't attacking it, which is the main thing that balances that monster, is the towers are attacking it. I've seen several games happen, games I've played, games I've watched, in which Sylvanas was backing up a boss monster push, and that sucker went straight through the core before it timed out. That's twice the duration it's supposed to have. And that's apparently totally okay. They're taking the Dota 2 approach, if everybody is unbalanced. But no, some characters are completely actually freaking totally useless, so that doesn't actually apply. They don't take... there's a comic strip making fun of the various nerfing styles, balancing mentalities of various MOBAs. League of Legends, both people get nerfed. Everybody's nerfed to where they're just using daggers. Dota, like, oh, this is unfair. Like, then both of them are wielding enormously overpowered swords. You know. So like, if in Dota something is imbalanced, they buff the counter. So like, but everyone's wielding big ass swords. In League of Legends, like, oh, this is unfair. Both of you are wielding daggers now, instead of a long sword and a big ass fucking sword. Here's the Storm concept of balance. Person wielding a long sword, person wielding a big ass flaming greatsword. Person with long sword says, this isn't fair, this needs to be nerfed. Like, you should, like, that needs to be nerfed, that's overpowered. And like, suddenly, their sword stays the same, the enemy's sword that they were complaining about grows 2 times in size. They buff the problem. And the greatsword wielder is slightly less armored. They buff the problem and then nerf a non-issue. Greatest example of this is on one of my factually preferred characters in the game, ETC. And no, I didn't actually like him for the issue. I rarely actually picked the issue. I picked the other ultimate that is rarely picked, but was still reasonably viable. Until they nerfed it. It's like, okay, ETC was the top dog tank because of his mosh pit ultimate, which gave him an AoE stun. It had counterplay, because if you didn't get everybody in it, they could CC you out of it or burn you down if they weren't trapped in it. That was the only counterplay to it. If you managed to hit the entire enemy team was going to die, or barely survive the duration of the thing. And that was the reason he was top dog. He had an AoE freaking in 4-second, I think, stun. I don't have the stuff right in front of me. But that was the main reason he was picked. His other ultimate, the one I preferred, was Stage Dive, which gave him like a global teleport, so he could be basically anywhere on the map. It was like super viable, and I preferred it because at the time, ETC had Battle Momentum, a talent that when picked made it where your basic attacks lowered the cooldown of all of your moves. So if you kept using his passive to increase his attack speed and like pushed lanes and were doing things, if you went back to business after stage diving, you could recharge your stage dive, and then the next time you needed to be somewhere, it would be off cooldown. So you could constantly just be wherever you needed to be, as long as you were playing correctly. And I also really liked the fact that he could do things other than team fight, because his passive, when he uses ability, allies around him get increased attack speed, so he could boost minions so they would push a little harder. It wasn't really all that big a deal, they'd just push a little bit faster. He wasn't like a super split pusher or anything, it wasn't really all that great. It wasn't that big a deal. It really didn't do anything, aside from give him something to do, besides be like be a one-trick pony tank. So what do they do when ETC clearly becomes an issue, because he's just the best tank in the fracking game because of Mosh Pit? They give him slightly less health, which doesn't matter if he hits Mosh Pit correctly, because they can't attack him. Oh, but like Mosh Pit's counterplay is if he doesn't hit anybody with it, if he doesn't hit everybody with it, they can burn him down. So that's good, right? Because it makes him easier to burn down if they don't hit everybody. Well, they gave him another talent that lets him move it. And not only lets him move it with a damaging attack that has its own stun, and the ability adds 2 seconds to the duration of the ultimate. So yeah, remove the one problem of the problem by enabling him to get everybody in it if he didn't initially get everybody in it. It's like, oh, well, what if that attack move, the power slide that enables him to move, is on cooldown? He won't be able to move it then. Nope, it refreshes the cooldown of the power slide. So yes, he can immediately move it if he doesn't get everybody in it. If he's immediately CC'd out of it before he can power slide, he still has power slide up, which he can then use to stun power slide through the enemy team that he had initially stunned and restun them again. Or escape. So yeah, if things go wrong, his sole means of escape has been refreshed instantaneously. So now he can power slide into them. Mosh pit. If he didn't catch everybody and they CC him out of it, he can just slide out. If they don't immediately CC him out of it, he can power slide into them and freaking get them in it. As if he'd gotten them in it initially, because the duration is extended to as if he had been there initially. Oh, and they also took away battle momentum, making stage dive nigh completely useless because it doesn't recharge fast enough to be useful. Oh, but wait, they buffed it again by making it where one of the talents that made it where if he died, he mosh pitted in on his death position. They made it where stage dive ETC could take that. So let's review. Their solution to ETC being a problem because of mosh pit was buffing mosh pit, nerfing his health, but taking away the consistent ability to capitalize on that less health, and also make it where the issue can be used regardless of what ultimate he takes. What the fuck, Blizzard? Are you out of your damned mind? Oh, and they took away the ability to increase the attack speed of your minions. Your passive that boosts attack speed only works on you and allied heroes. So yeah, they took away the one thing that made him not a one-trick pony. That's a load of bull. Sorry, I should not have made that joke. ETC being a Minotaur from WoW, Tauren, excuse me. But yeah, I don't play Heroes of the Storm. It's a fun game, but what Blizzard of the Coast? What the? I was thinking D&D for some reason. Blizzard doesn't have any concept of balance when it comes to Heroes of the Storm. So, yeah. No concept of proper balance. Anyway, this will be Cheese of Ages signing off.